What's up, everybody? Happy Friday to you and New Life family members. Happy 20th anniversary.
Welcome to the family room. Instead of having our 9 o'clock service, we're going to do a live rendition of the family room and talk about our journey.
Absolutely.
As a church that is now 20 years old.
It's hard to believe. It really seemed like we started, a few years ago and then boom, 20 years later.
It definitely is. I have to wear these glasses so I can see my phone, but I don't have my phone right now.
Yeah.
The problem is I can't see anything in front of me with the glasses on, and I'll get it figured out.
You're good. You always figure it out. But yeah, we're so glad that you guys are on. Make sure that you share right now as much as you possibly can. Right. We're asking that everybody that comes on shares so we can get the word out that we're doing this family room live this Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Today, we only have one service, which is going to be a combined service at 11 o'clock here at our main location. So we thought that we would come on in the context of a family room and give you some history and some video clips about the church.
Yeah, so what we're going to do today is the family room is live at 9 o'clock. And then at 10 o'clock, we're going to show you a special throwback service. And then 11 o'clock live, we have a special guest with us. Yeah. We have amazing music. So it's just going to be a full day of celebrating today.
It's going to be a great day of celebration. So those of you guys that can get here, come here, be a part. You don't have to register online or anything to come to church. You just come to church at 11 o'clock. The only thing we ask is that you wear your mask, and everybody's welcome. So we're going to celebrate today.
Definitely going to do that. So share, invite somebody to be a part of the service today. If you've never experienced the family room, it is something that Pastor Ramsey and I do every Friday at 12 noon. And tell them a little bit about why we did the family room.
We do the family room because really when the pandemic came, churches were shut down and we were doing the live stream on Sunday, and that was pretty much it. So there was no vehicle that we could use that could interact with the members. And we thought, came up with the concept of family room. And I looked at that as an opportunity to really engage the members. They could send in questions through the feed. We could respond to them right there on the spot.
Yes.
And so we're going to continue with the family room, long past when we get to a point that the pandemic is finally over. Right. We're going to continue on with the family room, and people have responded to it really well.
Right. And we usually, I usually have my phone out and we're interacting live with you during that time. People are on their lunch break. They ask questions. They put prayer requests in. So it really is an opportunity for us to touch you virtually.
Yeah.
And I really get just positive information regarding the family room.
Yeah, absolutely.
People share with us all the time how much they enjoyed that time.
Exactly. We got people from out of town, out of the country watching family room. They'll send us a note on the chat to let us know. They'll send it through live to let us know, hey, we're in the house today. We're from Africa. We're from wherever.
Right.
And so you never know where some of the guests are going to be. And that's one of the things that makes it exciting for us.
Right. So we don't have our chat up today. Do you have your chat up?
I got the chat. I just have to move around.
Yes, for a second. So we can say good morning to some people today.
Fanta's in the house.
So good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Fanta. Hello, Wanda Scott. It's good to see you. Hello, Sunny. It is great to see you as well. So continue to interact so that we can say hello to you this morning. And thank you so much for saying happy 20 years of service. That is great that everyone is excited about today.
I think everybody's excited. For those of you guys that are coming to the 11 o'clock, everybody's been jumping on the t-shirts. And so we got another order that came in, and we have people that's been coming by, getting off of work and coming by the church trying to get the t-shirts.
Right.
So when you first get here, that table will be up. We only have a certain amount. So when they're done, we're pretty much done.
We're done.
But grab your shirt. We're going to jump on in there, and we're going to have a great time on today.
Yes, I have mine. So I'm going to be wearing mine later today. And I got one for you.
Yep.
You have to be the pastor today. So
I have to be a pastor today, so I can't wear mine till tomorrow or sometime this week.
So I couldn't let you wear yours today. So for those that are just joining us, good morning, Minister Lou. Good morning, Dee. Good morning, Galen.
Marvin's in the house.
It's so great to see. Hello, Gloria. I know Gloria started school. She works at with Corey at Tech.
Got it.
I'm going to get ready to get started. So it's so great to see everyone. So Pastor Ramsey, what are we going to be looking at today in the family room?
We're going to take a look at some of the video clips from when we first started. Church started obviously 20 years ago. It was in August, late August, and we opened the doors. Really,
well, actually, it wasn't late August, babe. It was beginning of August.
Yeah, it was a beginning of
Because Jeremiah was born July 31st, and it was that weekend.
Yeah, so we opened that weekend, and we've been rolling ever since. But it's just been a great journey. We started out years ago. I served some at Eastern Star. We launched. What we did was we assigned our church that we had founded, that I had founded as a single pastor, to someone else.
Right. So tell them a little bit about your journey. So you established
Victory Christian Center.
Victory Christian Center, because we only 5 minutes in. We got plenty of time.
Yeah.
So
in 92.
In 92, and it was just you. So when you talk about the storefront, you're talking about Victory Christian Center.
Talking about Victory Christian Center.
It was Assembly of God Church. And tell them a little bit about your first church.
First church was very hard. All of them are hard, but it's just hard in different ways. But I didn't know anybody in town. So it's not like I had a congregation that I could be available for counseling or whatever needed to take place during the day. So I just knocked on doors all day. And I knocked on doors until one lady said that she would come to the service. And then that's when I started on that August. It was funny because it was almost like fool's gold, you know. The first Sunday was like fool's gold because there were a handful of people that knew me from back home, and you know,
like your family and people like that.
And they showed up. So I had a crowd the first service. I had around maybe 25. I had a crowd. Next week I had 2. And so reality set in after that, and we just never gave up, just kept swinging at it.
All right. And then so you started that in 92. You met me in 95.
Yeah.
And when you met me in 95, you were in the care center. You were setting up and breaking down the care center.
We were big time. We had moved out of the storefront. Now we were in a women's shelter.
Off of Rural.
And my office was down by their clothing bank.
Yes.
Next to the clothing bank. And then we set up and broke down every service in the in a little gymnasium that they had.
Yes, Sister Content was your secretary, such a sweetheart.
Yeah, Brother George was a musician.
Brother George was a musician. Kay Mosley led worship. And you really had a faithful group of people that helped you to implement the vision.
They really believed in me, and I think they really believed in what God had called us to do collectively, and they bought into the vision.
Right.
You can have 1,000 members, you can have 3,000 members, whatever we are now, you can have that, and you can have 5 members. But if the people don't buy into the vision gonna have a hard time moving forward. And these people were sold out, and we value them even to this day.
Definitely.
They were there from the very beginning.
If you go back to the chat, I know there are some people that were with you in the beginning. I know Fanta and her sisters were little girls. And they attended. Mark Wilson's mom was one of the first ones.
Mark was there too.
He was there.
Mary was there.
His wife Mary was there. So we have some people that are still with us to this day. Pastor Nicholson started with us at Victory Christian Center, our associate pastor here in New Life. He has been with us since Victory Christian Center.
It's been an amazing journey, and we look forward to showing you some of the clips today. But I'm really excited about just taking this time to share, because there are a lot of members that maybe you've been here for 1 year, maybe you've been here for 1 month, and you don't really know any history about it. After this is over, later this evening, I'm going to post this onto our YouTube page, and you'll be able to go back and watch it. If you know anyone that misses it, you can go back and check it out.
Definitely. Good morning to Vicky and Carl. Carl said hi. He said he loves you. I know he misses you guys too, being a part of the service. If you scroll down a little bit, we can see some more people that are on the thread this morning with us. Hello, Dewana. Good to see you. LaJoy, great to see you. Hello, Paris. Shirley. Please tell Lucas we said hello. Great to see you too, Shirley, this morning. Stacy Hanks, of course, is there. Jeffrey Proctor, thank you for sharing. Martina saying happy anniversary to all of us. Now, so you and I, we met in 95 and we got married. We had Johnny in 97. And then we became pregnant in 2000 with Jeremiah, and we transitioned. Yes, I was offered the opportunity to come on at Eastern Star at the time. With the understanding that eventually I would relaunch a church and be senior pastor. So we looked at it from the standpoint of sowing a ministry into the kingdom, to lead that, to go there. Because when we left Victory Christian Center, the building was paid off. Everything was paid off, and money was in the account. It wasn't a huge congregation, so it's not like it was a ton of money, but it was definitely enough to let them navigate
through that season as they got ready for the new pastor.
Right. And that building is right there across from the Boys and Girls Club or KIPP Academy, right there on Ralston.
Right. 38th Ralston.
Yeah. So it's a great building. We were doing well there. We were happy. God brought us this opportunity. It was new. It was new for you and I.
It was new for everybody. It really was.
At that same time, not only were we found out we were pregnant with Jeremiah, I started a new job. At that time, that was my first year as a dean of students.
Yep.
At Southport Middle School. So we had a lot going on at one time. So, and I remember it because I turned 30 that year as well. So we just had a lot of things that were going on at that time. And when it was time for you to launch the first church, we didn't share with anybody all of the bad news we were receiving about Jeremiah.
No, they knew nothing. When we opened up the very first service that I opened up here as a church, we started out on Kessler. We're going to show you guys some of the buildings and some video clips that we think will bless you. But nobody knew anything. Right.
So during the planning stage, so that was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work.
And so tell us a little bit about when you, and even how you connect with Deacon Nelson.
Yeah. Steve and I, we connected, I believe, was it at Eastern Star?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he heard me preaching there, and we connected. Almost instantly became really close friends that we are to this day. And he became a very integral part. His wisdom and expertise in the area of business and structure and infrastructure was huge for us early on, and then going on into the years that we're into now. And so just God gave us some really key people at key times.
Okay, so you put your team together, and the first building, how did you show them? Let's show them this first building. And while it's showing, we can talk about how you put that together. How did you select this building? How did you decide you can play because there's no sound.
Services here every single Sunday.
Okay.
And it would be packed out. Then we created a little overflow that would be full. And then we would set chairs in the hallway and put a little monitor there. That would be full. And we just saw early on we were going to need more space because the parking was just unbelievable. So we looked at getting Northwest High School.
Eventually. So go back to the chat. There may be some people in the chat that I know we're kind of multitasking today, but we really want this to be interactive with you. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom there, I need you to put it in the thread. If you remember Kessler Boulevard, if you were one of the individuals, you're going the right way, honey. If you were one of the individuals that, hey, I had to wait in line in a parking lot to get out.
Right.
Or look, someone is saying there. Let's go up there. So Sherry Ross says, I remember touching the door handle at Kessler 20 years ago on day one and knew I had found my church home.
That's awesome.
Wonderful.
That is really awesome.
Keep scrolling in case there's someone else can share and they remember being a part of Kessler Boulevard. Dorothea says she remembers Kessler Boulevard. There, keep going. As someone else that I see, Yvette says she remembers being a part.
Absolutely.
So you began to outgrow Kessler.
Yes.
So after you began to outgrow Kessler, so did you just decide that, okay, we're going to go to Northwest? How did that even come about?
No, I mean, obviously I was praying about it. And then I started just going to buildings and talking to administrators, principals, everybody I could get my hands on to find out, listen, can we use your auditorium? Can we use this facility on a Sunday? And we'll pay you something. We didn't have like a crazy budget, but we'll pay you something. And can we use the auditorium just on Sundays? And Northwest agreed to let us do that. And that's when we started setting the table to make that move, that middle service will be over at Northwestern. And what that did is it helped the traffic flow.
So you were up to within the first year or second year?
We were at 1,000 easily.
Yeah, so the first year you were up to 3 services and you were moving the second service out to a different location in addition to focusing on paying off the building.
Yes.
Tell us about your mindset or your vision to ensure that you would be a debt-free ministry.
Mindset going into it was to keep every expense at a minimum and to throw everything we could at the mortgage on the building. And it was nothing but God. but we kept everything minimal, salaries, my salary, everything was just very, very low. And we paid that building off in a year.
So the building was paid off in a year. And after you paid that building off in a year, I know you and your team, what was the discussion after you got to that point?
Well, the discussion at that point was, we're going to have a bigger campus. We're going to have to, and until we can find one, we have to have something that can ease the traffic flow over here. And that's where Northwestern came in.
Show them where we ended up. So we added a third service. So the middle service. So some of you may have joined.
Remember that?
We sure did. We sure did.
Yeah, we would do Wednesday night Bible study there as well. And that we would do a noon over at the Kessler location. Then I would do the night Bible study over at that location on Wednesday nights.
And there were a few occasions, and that's when we even started the concept of the 3-in-1.
Yeah.
Where we would have one special service where we would all come together and it would be packed out at that location.
Right. And the purpose of that was really to let the members get to know each other. And we would find out members that didn't know that some of their close friends were going to the church, and they were members, but maybe they went to the 9 o'clock and they went to the 12. And so when we started doing the 3-in-1 services, I think that really brought a glue to the church and a bond that we were able to build a lot of momentum off of.
We were. Let's go back to the chat, because there may be some individuals that are on the chat that remember going to Northwest and going in between services. Let's see. Paris says, I joined at Northwest High School between my AME Zion Church services. Lauren and her friends went there and she wanted us to visit. And my family joined that Sunday and never looked back.
That's awesome.
Isn't that good?
Is awesome.
There's one. You can read the one from Minister Lou.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Minister Lou. Yes, I remember coming to New Life and family, and the church God sent me to, and still I'm still here.
Still here.
That's what he was saying. So he was saying, I remember when God sent me here, and I'm still here serving, and he is.
And Minister Lou
he served from day one.
He has. Vicky Stewart says this. She says, I remember my second service on Kessler and joined me and 4 kids. A single mom, never felt that way because of all of the love. We love you too, Vicky. Thank you so much.
Yeah, just great people. And I'm just telling you, I hope that this blesses you today, because if it doesn't show you anything, it ought to show you 2 things. Number one, the power of gratitude and the power of unity. What you can accomplish when the body is, and what I like about this church, our church, is that our church understands the role that they play in a vision. And you don't have anybody jockeying for positions or jockeying for titles. You just have people trying to make a difference and serve the community. And that's what has sustained us all these years.
It has. Yvette says, I took my new members class at Northwest. That was when I first started, even the healing the damage emotion class. We were at Northwest.
That's right.
And Dee Dee Johnson says, I joined at Northwest during the night watch service, running down the aisle with a broken foot.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really powerful.
That's incredible.
And one thing about the beginning of the church, and it's funny because I get this now, there are people that will say, well, I didn't even know, First Lady could talk. I didn't know she could do this, because they were at the church in the beginning. When the beginning of the church, Pastor had his team that he worked with, and I more so was invested in my career at the school system.
So we were running in 2 different directions.
So I was going from a dean to an assistant principal. I was in my master courses for administration, in addition to having a 4-year-old and a newborn with severely special needs. So between the children and my career, that really took all of my time. And he was truly invested in the church. And one thing I would always share with people and with him, I never stood between him and what God called him to do. So if we had to hire 2, 3, 4 sitters and myself, so we had a caregiver during the day, we had someone to help me at night, and then me doing my part. I focused on the family while he focused on New Life. So sometimes you wonder, like, how was our foundation so strong at this church? Because he gave New Life his undivided attention to set the foundation in place. Because when you're starting a church from the ground up, like, you have to set everything.
Right. And the thing that I love about pioneering a church, and I've done it twice now, what I love about it is that as the founder, you have the ability and the opportunity to set the environment as to what's going to be the personality of your church. Right. What's going to be, what is it going to be known for? What kind of environment is going to have? You get a chance to increase that or to create that versus coming into it and trying to change the environment to what you believe God wants.
Yes. And that is something that we have always been blessed to be able to do and to have in place. Robert Smith says, I remember coming to the church for a visit. Oh, can you scroll it down a little bit so I can read it? He says, I remember coming to the church for a visit after hearing some people talk about you, Pastor. The church was still at Kessler. God said, don't listen to them, go see him. And I've been here ever since. I joined at a Bible study. And that's the good thing about it. When people truly get to know us for who we are, they can hear all types of, things about us. And you're going to have that. Now, if somebody's not talking about you, you're not doing anything.
Exactly.
And as we say all the time, if you don't have any haters, that's because you're not busy and you're not proactive and you're not making a difference.
Right. If you think about it, most people that talk about somebody else, they don't even know them. They have no relationship with them. They don't know them. All they have is whatever their challenge is. and they try to spread the gospel that way, I guess. But at the end of the day, I really believe that if you're going to be effective in ministry, especially when it comes to pioneering a church as a pastor, you have to divorce yourself from the opinions of people. You really do, so that you can just focus on your job.
Yes, that's it. So we're at Kessler, first service. Head over to Northwest High School, the auditorium, for your second service. Then you come back to Kessler for your third service, and it still wasn't enough room.
Well, it was, but it created more space for us over at the school as well. That would put us in a good position. But after a while, that couldn't even accommodate everything we wanted to do.
So it still wasn't enough room.
So it wasn't enough room.
So that's what made you say that? Okay, we have these 2 locations, we have these 3 services, but we still need more. What was the thought process?
The thought process was finding a place that we could bring the congregation together. And build a bond while we're trying to believe God for buildings. Something bigger. All right. Something strong, something that would give us what we need, or to save money and put us in a predicament that we could build.
All right.
So we're going to do one of those 2 things was the goal. So we
so Kessler was paid off at this time, and
we're renting Northwestern.
You're renting Northwest Gym. So now what do you want to do? You want to move to a different location?
At this point, we want to either buy a location or we want to build a location. But in the interim, I felt like we needed something bigger.
And you came up with this option. And what's this next location?
I know God talked to me about this, and I know he spoke to me about this. So our next location was Lafayette Square Mall. We're going to show you this image of it, and you'll see that this image. Now, it didn't look like that. We had it all laid out differently. Now it's vacant. But we took it and stripped it down. And here's the thing. I still remember my first message there, because that store used to be a Lazarus. Remember that?
Yep.
And I preached, Lazarus come forth. That was the first message that I did.
Because Lafayette Square Mall used to be jumping.
Yeah.
Now it's different now, but when I first moved to the city,
we went there all the time.
We lived right there around the corner in Pike Township and Robertson Village is where Pastor and I lived. And we would go to MCL. Remember, every Sunday we would go to MCL all the time.
See half the members up in there.
And you remember Steak and Ale on 38th Street? We used to go to Steak and Ale on 38th Street.
See, when we moved up, when we were big time, we moved up to Steak and Ale.
Remember that special they used to have on Sundays?
Sure did, because we fled it all the time.
Y'all talk about 2 for $20 at Applebee's. We used to go to Steak and Ale.
Yeah, we created our 2 for $20 a long time ago.
Did that special, but we loved that area. So it was just a natural fit for us to be there.
It really was.
And show them what it looks like.
So here's what it looks like now, but you can get an ideal
We had Lexi, the musical artist there. I can just think that, over the years, we've had so many people that have come to visit New Life and been a part. We had our teen ministry there. We had children's church there.
Yeah.
We really did a good job of utilizing that space.
Yeah, we really did. And we felt like the money would pay off, even though we don't get to take that money with us. Sometimes you got to do what you have to do for God's people, just like you would in a family. Your family gets to a certain size. You got to do what you have to do to get them in a livable space.
You do. If you could go back to the chat, because some people may remember when we were at the mall location.
Yeah.
And even when we were at the mall location, do you remember when we did the conference about my father's business?
Absolutely. We
were at the mall location during that time when we did that conference downtown. You and Max Siegel put that conference together, and that was huge.
It was huge. We had Fred Hammond, we had Marvin, we had Noel Jones. We had
Paul White, we had
Hezekiah Walker,
the Word Network, Hezekiah Walker,
John Ramsey, all these people.
You name it, we had it at About My Father's Business. Like, the city was really jumping, talking about, oh wow, this is conference that this church is putting on, New Life Worship Center, About My Father's Business, because you had a book to go along with it as well.
Right. We had just did that book.
If you scroll down, let me see who remembers the mall location. People are sharing, and it was really good. People are talking about the mall there. If you scroll up a little bit, that individual, Marsha Cole, says, I love the mall. That was where we started. So Mr. and Mrs. Cole started at the mall.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's great.
And they've been with us for years.
Yeah, Yvette says, I remember John P. Key. And Little Rufus. We sure did have John P. Key and Little Rufus.
Rufus was rolling every time he came in.
When we were at the mall location, we did. So D. Davis says, me and my husband joined when the church was at Lafayette Square.
Right.
I remember Minister Lou praying over us when we joined. We are still
Another
here.
one joined there.
And I love serving. LaJoy says, the mall location is where I join with my daughters. Oh, I just love it. I love it. This is kind of what we wanted to do today for the family room. My name is First Lady Alicia Ramsey, Pastor Jonathan Ramsey Sr. If you're just joining us, this is our 20th year anniversary celebration. We have special things going on all day today. And today we're going back down memory lane for 9 o'clock.
And I think another thing that's important about memory lane is that sometimes when people go to a church like this, it's not that we're the utopia of churches, but when people go to a church like this, I think sometimes they can get a tad bit spoiled in terms of knowing what really goes down in the church world, and that the average church in America is under 50 people.
Yes.
And so to experience what God has given us has been absolutely amazing. The good news is I don't think we've hit our peak of where he's going to take this. So we got time to just kind of park today and celebrate what he's done.
We definitely do have that. We need for you to share, invite somebody to be a part of the conversation this morning. Right after we finish the family room, we're going to go into a throwback service for an hour to show you the new season that we are going into. And then after that, at 11 a.m., we have a live service with Dr. Jonathan Briggs. We have some amazing music for you, and Pastor Ramsey is going to continue to share throughout the day. And then tonight, I need you to make sure that you set your calendar, that you set your alarm at 6 p.m. If you can't be here in person, tag in virtually, because the music ministry is going to bless you, and they're going to take you back down memory lane for New Life Worship Center.
Absolutely. So it's going to be an exciting day. So stay with us. Keep it locked here all day long. Now, we know many of you will be in the house physically at 11 o'clock, and that's what we really want. We want the people in the house come to your house, your church, and celebrate with us. Those of you that absolutely can't, then obviously stream with us and be a part of sharing with us during that time.
So now we are in the mall location, Pastor Ramsey. So you renovated the mall, Deacon Nelson, your team. You had Pastor Terry was over teen ministry. Pastor Nicholson was your associate. Minister Lou. You had Minister Posey. We had so many people that were serving a part of the ministry at that time. Tracy George was over the ushers.
When I looked back,
we had a strong deacon ministry. We had a strong parking lot ministry. I think Brother Lee, and after Brother Lee, then it went to Brother Bobby.
That's right.
Brother Bobby is still with us to this day. So, and we still have a relationship with Brother Lee and his family. So we're at the mall. What's going on now?
I'm thinking about permanent location.
Okay.
I didn't want us to, you got to wait to see what you're going to do, and you got to wait to hear from God, and you got to wait until there's resources there to do it. But our ultimate desire was to build a building. Yeah. But then I found out that Traders was for sale.
All right. How did you find out Traders were for sale? And then we're going to go back to the chat, because I know some people are sharing and letting us know, what the ministry has meant to them and how they are joining. So tell us how you found out about Traders.
I found out about Traders just through several people that we just knew in the community. And I found out that it was for sale. I said, really? And they said, yeah. I set up a meeting. I came over and met with their pastor. I came over and met with some of their leaders and deacons and board members. Walked the campus. I think Steve Nelson was with me. We walked the place, and we just saw potential. I saw potential. Yes. And I also saw the fact that it could be everything that we need the building to be.
That's good.
And that we would need to do renovations. We would need to do a lot of different things, but to have something permanent, it says something about the ministry when a ministry has a permanent location.
And that was your thought process.
Exactly.
We have some people sharing here. So Sherry Holland says, my godmother told me about Pastor and you, and it has blessed me ever since. Oh, there goes Taiwan. Taiwan says the mall is when I joined in 2004.
Wow.
Been with you. You've been going so fast.
I was trying
been with you guys ever since. Keith Coleman says, I remember the mall. Me and my family joined at the mall. About my father's business was awesome. Yeah. We danced in the spirit all night. We are still here. And there's another individual, Ken San, says the mall location was where I first visited New Life.
Yeah.
And what does Connie say on there? Connie Patton says Kessler days were amazing.
Right.
Dewana says I joined NLWC at the mall. So I love how people are sharing about when they connected with New Life. So you decided that this Traders location was it. Now, Absolutely. Did you get any type of a backlash or people saying things because it wasn't necessarily inner city location?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did. People would say, people aren't going to drive out that far to go to church and that type of a thing. But to me, once I heard from God, I really didn't process anything else that I was hearing because I knew exactly where we needed to be. I knew exactly what we needed to do once we got here. And so I was just like on a mission. I was zeroed in, and I would hear the chatter from time to time. Well, nobody's going to drive all the way out there and all of that type of thing. And but we went on with the process. We talked to the church about it. We explained what we were going to be doing and that there would be a transition to here. And we got ready for the move.
And meanwhile, you are still
at the mall.
At the mall. You have 2 children.
Yep.
Your wife is working a lot. You have a child with exceptional needs that loves God, loves his church. You have a son that you see has some athletic talent. So you want to be able to support him and get him involved. Like we started Johnny in athletics.
6.
So we tried everything. So we tried soccer, we tried basketball. Then when we really saw, we tried taekwondo. We started that when he was 6 to help with discipline and structure and that toughness.
Yeah, he ended up being really good at it. I think that really played a major role into the other things that he did.
Master Kati, he and his wife were just amazing individuals. So you were trying to do all that. So you started him in football for 3rd grade. So you're trying to balance.
I would do sermons in the car all the time.
Tell them a little bit about that because, John, JR Ministries is founded on faith, family, and finances. And we're not just saying that, but he has lived it.
Yeah. And, I would go to John's practices sometimes just to watch him practice. One, to see how the coaches were interacting with them and he with them, but also just to be able to be there. I know what it's like to come up and be, pretty talented at what you're doing and know that a lot of scholarships are going to be on the table and opportunity, but not necessarily have, my father there at those events. So I came to everything. I came sometime to practice a couple of times a week. I would sit in my car, work on my messages and watch the practice. I just never wanted to miss anything.
Well, we had that agreement too, as a married couple. I handled the doctor's appointments and I handled all of the medical with Jeremiah, and I had a caregiver, Sister Margie, then Miss Dixon, who is still with us today. she helped me with the medical side, the doctor's appointments and the therapy, and you handled Johnny's athletics.
Yeah, I tried to handle the business of our house and things of that nature, bills and all that kind of thing. And then I handled all of the athletics with John and the extracurricular. And we just found a way to make it work.
Right. So we made it work. So even though all this was going on with the church, we still made our family work, and we still worked hard to keep that balance. We did our best to take, Jeremiah was still little, so we could go places. Like a lot of the behaviors didn't start yet with him, so we could still fly places and do different things. But then it started to where he started to have the severe behaviors.
Right.
So we couldn't do that as much. But I love the fact that you always kept a post on what was going on at home. Yeah. Even though the church was exploding and it was growing and things were, manifesting in our life.
I don't know sometimes if people really understand this, because it's one thing for people to preach it. I know a lot of people that preach it, but I don't know but a few people that actually do it.
Right.
And what I wanted the church to understand from the very outset, that my home always came first in terms of family and making sure that they were taken care of. And the church was a priority after that. And that's the reason why I preach that so much about the first institution God created was the marriage. And then the church was to be a prototype of what that marriage is. And so I just tried to always stand by that. Doesn't mean I always did it perfectly. Doesn't mean I didn't have challenges in doing it. Doesn't mean that things weren't tough, because they were a lot of times. Right. But we learn how to navigate through problems and show up on a Sunday, show up on a Wednesday, or show up in a Bible study or a meeting, and nobody know what you're dealing with behind the scene.
Yes, definitely. Well, let's see what they are saying in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning into the family room this morning. My name is First Lady Alicia Ramsey. My husband, Pastor John F. Ramsey Sr. It is our 20-year anniversary, so we have a lot of special things in store for you today. If you could scroll down some more. Let's see. Norma says, I've been with New Life since Kessler. And Martina says this, I joined at the mall location when I first moved to Indy from Ohio. I would go to Kessler for noon Bible study. I had never been a part of an amazing ministry. I wasted no time to join.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Awesome. And another reason why I think that even what we're talking about today is ministering to someone, because we live in a time, you can still see the faithfulness of so many members on here, right?
Yes.
We live in a time now where people hop from church to church.
It's true.
And what they fail to understand is that, that if God is really the centerpiece of my life, then I don't even determine where I go to church. He does. Because the Bible says that God has set the members in the body. That means that every Christian has a set place.
Yes.
And people tend to forget that now, and they go to what's convenient versus what they're called to.
Yes.
And we see so many people that are still rooted in those same principles that we taught from the very beginning.
So you and your board of directors made the decision to purchase Traders. Now, let them, for those of you that are just our, virtual members and you are unable to visit us in person, this is our Traders location that we're going to show you that we are in right now. So show them a clip of what it looks like. And this is
like a house. You're always doing improvements, and we've been doing that ever since we got here. But at the end of the day, it's given us so much of what the people needed.
So when you went to the bank in regards to purchasing this, just tell us a little bit about how that went. We know we have to be honest about how that situation went.
A lot of times, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. A lot of times, banks don't always want to give certain cultures a certain level of loan financing. But I think that when we showed it, we were so meticulous about our records, and then we were so meticulous about the vision. And I would sit there, I tell the bankers, listen, get in your car, follow me over. I want you to go see it. I want you to see what we're going to do and try to give them that imagery. And then before that whole thing was over, they said, Mr. Ramsey, we are definitely going to give you this loan. And then we began to negotiate interest rate and all of those types of things. And we got it and made the purchase. And while we were getting ready, we're still trying to maintain the mall until we can get in here and really get going. Because
what some people don't understand, I believe, we weren't associated with a denomination. Okay, so we didn't have that, that financial backing. It was your credit. Our credit. Your name. That's what was that. And sometimes people don't understand that.
And people, exactly. And that's a great point that you're making right there, because sometimes the church can only go as far as the pastor's credit. Because they look at the pastor as the key man. That's why some churches have key man insurance in case something were to ever happen. The ministry is able to do what it needs to do. And so they looked at me. One of the stipulations was we had to have key man insurance. And but they looked at my credit. They want to know what my credit is, what my history is. Since they didn't have a lot of history on the church, we only had 2 years of history on the church, maybe 3 years of history on the church. So they could only look so far. Then they went all through my history and our history to see how we handled things. And they came back to us and they said, we know we're supposed to give you this loan.
Because it's no joke. The cost of building insurance, the cost of the
building
mortgage.
Insurance here is a major salary.
It really
Just
is.
Insurance.
Sure. So many things that now we were taking on in regards to, the utility bills. But we thank God that he had gave us this location because we could start to do more things. If we return to the chat, there's some people that may have joined while we were here. And when we came here to this location, and this is all they know. So some of you are just now understanding and getting to see the story of how we got to this location and how God has blessed us to be here now. Natasha says, my parents sent me New Life CDs when I was deployed to Iraq. Truly a blessing. Oh, that's wonderful.
And I remember when your dad was alive and we were at Kessler and we were at, when we first got ready to start out, he would take CDs home all the time. And then when I was at the other church,
he did.
Victory Christian Center, he would take my CDs home and he would give them to Tommy. Remember that?
That's how you connected with Pastor Tommy. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. You'll see a little bit more about that if you make sure you watch the 11 o'clock service, because we do have a video from Pastor Tommy. We invited him to be with us today, but it is his wedding anniversary. He and his wife, I believe 25 years. So happy anniversary, Pastor Tommy, to you and Lady Tara. But we have had some amazing people that helped us establish New Life Worship Center. And we never take that for granted. You go through seasons where you're really close to people. There are seasons where you're not as close. But one thing I can say, God has really been doing a work in reconnecting some people to, the vision, reconnecting us to some people.
We've had a slew of people come back to the church. And, sometimes the staff would be telling me, because I didn't always know. And I just kind of focus on what I need to do. And I don't always notice right out of the gate, and they begin to share with me, man, we got so many members that have come back. We've got so much growth that's still happening. And that's the thing. Nobody's membership is ever going to hold the church hostage, because it's not my house, it's his house. And he said that upon this rock, I'll build what? My church? No, my church. And the gates of hell. And so God is always doing something new. He's always doing something unique.
And many of you have seen us grow and mature, because when we started New Life Worship Center, we were in our 30s. When we started New Life together. And that's the blessing that God has matured us over the years, because when he started Victory, he was single. And then 3 years later, he met me. And we were in our 20s, we were kids. So now to see that God has kept us and evolved, the ministry to this time, and many of you are still a part. It is good to see. Look, Dee Dee says, the only church as an adult, she says, I've been trying to relocate, but because I don't want to leave my church. So she wants to leave Indianapolis, but she doesn't want to leave her church. And we have a lot of young people that have graduated from college and went off to other careers, other churches. And that is great for us, because when we first started New Life, we used to get a lot of, my kids go to your church. So they were going to, establish churches in the city, and they would say, hey, my kids go to your church, Pastor Ramsey. And we loved that.
We loved it, because it was a young church. It was a young church. And we still have a lot of youth here. One of the things, whenever you go into a church and you see everybody is seasoned in there, you need to worry. Because that lets me know that you're not getting that next generation ready. What I'm excited about, and what part of my focus is going to be over these next so many years is getting the next generation ready, from pastoral all the way down, so that the ministry is able to really lunge forward. But so many times in our culture, when a pastor died or something like that took place, that next generation had to start over again.
Yes, that's true.
Not what's going to be the case here. We want to lay some things in place, just like David did when Solomon came along and built the temple. He had pieces in place so that he could be successful.
Yes. Gloria says, I used to send cassette tapes to my daughter when she was attending IU. I remember cassette tapes too. Remember, we have boxes and boxes until recently of cassette tapes. You know, in your office, keeping a hold of everything. Now, we're doing well here at Traders. We're paying down the mortgage. You have a daycare that is up and running, and God puts on your heart to have a second location.
I think it was Mount Param that came up for sale. And it was funny because one of the members came to me, and before she knew what it looked like before we bought it. And she came to me and she said, why? She said, why are you buying that? And I said, you'll see. And once we renovated it, she came back and said, Pastor, I had questions as to why we're buying it. She said, but I absolutely see now. What's so special about this place is very close to where my storefront was in 92.
It's awesome. And
so that really kind of pulled at my heart, the possibility that we could still have the impact right there in that location, in that neighborhood. And I began to feel his leadership and God calling us to, listen, you need to do this, and this needs to be one of your locations. And I know seasons change and vision changes, but that part was just a major passion.
Yeah, and we purchased that building. It's paid off. It's been paid off for a very long time. And we did the renovations there. Let them take a look at what that location looks like.
This is exactly. So we're just grateful. I'm just so glad that so many of you guys logged on to make this a part. Please make sure that you share it as much as possible, because there's a lot of people that don't know the history of New Life Worship Center. There's a lot of members that go here. We may have 1,000 members that go here that don't know the history of it.
That's true.
And I'll take this video and I'll upload it on my YouTube channel later on tonight. You guys will be able to see that, or if you want to go back and watch it, you'll be able to do that.
Yeah, go back to the chat. Let's see who joined at the central location, because we do have some people that became a part. Well, let me go, if you scroll back up there. Natasha says, I joined in 2014 at the Traders location after meeting my husband. That's Taiwan's wife.
Yeah,
and she served, and she came right in serving.
I remember that.
So her husband was serving here. You know, the guy she was dating was serving here. They get married. Boom. She serves right away. She wasted no time. Connie says, I was one of the first members and still watch every Sunday. Despite being in Virginia now, I love NLWC. Oh, that is awesome. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Here's Brenda. This is great. I have moved back to my hometown in Greenville, South Carolina, but I am still connected to NLWC. That blessed my life then and now. Started my membership at the mall location.
I mean, it's just awesome to see the testimonies that come in. And I'm telling you, New Life members are the ones that make a church what it is.
Yes.
The personalities, the environment that they create. I can't tell you how many times we've gotten compliments as to how friendly people are.
Yes.
And then every now and then you're going to get people that just complain no matter what. But overall, though, you hear a lot about how people go above and beyond to try to accommodate whatever individual situation is.
You do. Let me ask you this question. So now that we are in this virtual age, and a lot of people watch virtual, attend church virtual, may move out of state, be in the military, something may be going on. What made you decide to add? So we have 3 cameras, and we have professional grade TV size cameras in our sanctuary
that we want to upgrade,
which God has really set the stage for us to be prepared when COVID hit, when we had the pandemic, when we had, to isolate, they have that 3-camera view. We've had televisions. What made you do that?
I've always believed that excellence costs, but at the end it pays for itself. Okay. So putting things in place that even if they're not necessary for right now, they're necessary for where you're going and where you're trying to get the ministry to.
So you've always had foresight.
Yeah.
And you've always looked ahead. And it really said, and then even the fact that we set up online giving years ago.
Yeah, we did.
We had the church app years ago.
Yeah.
So now to be in this position where people had to, do their, they did their tithes and offerings via app or all of that. I thank God for your foresight. Even looking at, us being debt free, which helped during this time too. So as you continue to think about where we're going, tell us about, Pastor Ramsey sitting here now, 2021. He had so much vision in the past and he still has vision. Where do you see the ministry going?
I see the ministry growing numerically. Okay. I see the ministry growing in terms of equipping and developing strong leadership. Okay. Not just for this time that we're in, but for the next generation that comes after it. There will come a time, later on down the line, I'll be a lot older, but later on down the line, there'll come a time that I will begin equipping my successor and getting that piece in place. That piece will be in place before we're even gone. Right. So that there's a smooth transition. From one to the other. And at that point, I'm the bishop and overseer, whatever the case might be, and doing the other things that we do. But yes, solid leadership is in place. Yeah.
Our church, being a non-denominational church, a lot of things are planned. It will not be a group of deacons or people voting to see who will be the successor of New Life Worship Center.
Exactly. That's
the goal is it'll be a plan in place and a smooth transition. Yeah. Because smooth transitions help everyone.
It really does. It really does. And so you have to have good people around you. And because sometimes they can, what I like about our board members, they don't sit around the table and tell me my vision.
Yeah.
They look at, okay, what's the vision? Okay, here are the most efficient ways that we could implement that. And that's why those guys are just, they're incredible. And they add so much wisdom to what we try to do and helping us understand not just that they're supporting that vision, but when it's going to be best to pull the trigger on that vision.
So as we continue to move forward as a ministry, we are looking forward to you becoming a part in a unique way, spreading the gospel. Part of our mission is equipping and edifying disciples for Christ. Yeah. You are all disciples, and we cannot say that enough, how much we appreciate you tuning in, sharing, connecting people to what we are doing here at New Life Worship Center. Today is our 20th anniversary. Yeah. My name is First Lady Alicia Ramsey. It's my husband, Pastor Jonathan Ramsey Sr., and this is a day of celebrating. If you are just now tuning in, make sure you go back and take a look at what we've been talking about, the vision, the journey of New Life Worship Center. We have people in the thread that have been sharing and giving us comments and conversation, which has been great. There is one young lady, she said, I used to watch Pastor Ramsey preach on TV on Sunday afternoon. So in my transition to change churches, I started watching the stream. God was telling me that's your church. I joined in April of 2019. Yeah, we used to be on Channel 40. Remember that?
We were on there for years.
We were on TV for years. We were on WTLC for years.
Sometimes people would come up to me all the time, just when I was out, and they would say, Pastor, I watch you on Sunday, man. That's a good word you preach and that type of thing. And then remember when we went off?
Yeah.
I had a couple people come up to me and say, Pastor, I watch you on TV. And I look up and say, I'm not on TV right now.
Or radio, they would be like, oh man, I used to listen to you radio. But what we had to do is we had to change when the times changed.
Exactly.
And, we're now in a streaming generation.
Yeah.
And we're in a YouTube generation.
Speaking of that, I'm going to be talking about Bible study a little bit today at service.
Okay.
And just kind of letting you guys know how we're going to move forward with that.
Okay. So here is another shout out. That was a good one. If you could scroll back up there. So yes, it says, shout out to New Life. I joined in 2010 while I was stationed in the Army in Indiana. I had just returned from Afghanistan when I got there, and I went through a lot while living in Indiana, but I know the ministry kept me whole. I've since moved back home to Chicago, but I thank God for New Life, and it's still my other home. May the Lord bless and keep you. God bless you.
Appreciate that so much.
We appreciate that word. And Barbara says this.
Did I go right?
I don't know what you're doing, babe, with this technology.
I'm trying to get you back.
Is that to Barbara? There's Barbara. I joined the mall, and I am blessed to have my children and grand.
I'm trying to get you right.
I'm good. It's right.
Okay, you good? You can see?
I can see.
All right, go ahead.
Barbara says, I joined at the mall, and I am blessed to have my children and grandchildren attending the Boulevard location. Thank you, Pastor Ramsey and First Lady, for your dedication.
Absolutely. This has been awesome, hasn't it?
It has been amazing.
And remember, guys, we're going to upload this on the YouTube channel. You'll be able to check that out anytime you want to. And you can also go into, she's laughing at my YouTube channel. I gotta give my YouTube channel some love.
Him and his YouTube channel. I hope y'all have subscribed to his YouTube channel.
Y'all want to see my subscription? Y'all want to see my commercial?
So this is what we do on the family room.
This is what we're doing. See, that's what I'm talking about.
That was not a part of what we were doing today.
I just wanted to throw that in. That's some extra gravy.
But he had to put that in there. So I need you to support. I need you to go and subscribe to his YouTube channel because he puts a lot of, you enjoy the whole technology.
I really do. I enjoy the tech part.
And I love that. A shout out to Brandon Johnson for putting together that.
Yeah, he did an amazing
footage
job
for us. He went and took, the videos of the location so we could have visuals to show you about the journey that we have been taking. And before we leave our time in the family room today, we are going to set up what's going to be coming next for you to see. Now, I need you to talk a little bit about this new connection, this new season that we are in, Overseer.
Yeah, I've known Bishop Morton for 20 years at least.
Yes. We used to bring him.
Maybe 19, 20 years.
Yes.
He's come here for at least 18 years.
Yes.
And and so later on, last couple of years, became a part.
So when did we join? It was before the pandemic.
Full Gospel. Yeah, it was like several years ago.
Yeah, several years ago.
Joined Full Gospel and initially came in and Bishop appointed me over his singles ministry for the fellowship. That's, international.
Right.
And then later on, the opportunity came available and he wanted to make me overseer of marriage and family.
Yes.
Which is an area that I've always had a great passion. So, I was excited about that.
And it was really God's timing. And tell them how that opened up for you. If you could put it back on the chat so we can see what everyone is saying as well. But tell us a little, look, somebody said, nice, Tracy. Boy, y'all be loving y'all pastor and his technology. So tell us a little bit about, God's timing, because we also want to send our condolences to the bishop that passed away and you moved into when they asked you to come into that role. Yeah,
it was just Bishop Hall was over the marriage and family ministry and he passed away a couple of years ago. And he was just one of those guys that was just, from everything I've learned about him, and I've been enjoying learning about him. He was just an incredible preacher. I mean, I hear that everywhere I go, incredible preacher. He and his wife did a wonderful job. He would preach all around the country in addition to pastoring his church and was just well loved all throughout the fellowship. So when that opportunity came to me to become the new overseer of marriage and family, and then now marriage and family is the part that I oversee, what I'm overseer of, and singles is up underneath that marriage and family. So we still get a chance to work with that as well. So I just think it's been an incredible journey. I'm very, very excited about this because I'm passionate about, the family. Right. And they went to his wife after he passed away to ask her, would she be interested in it? So I love the way they did it. You had a conversation even with her. Yeah, I called her. And you called her and talked to her. And I just love that aspect of the fellowship, the order and the way that they love on it, because so many times a pastor's wife or a bishop's wife, when they lose their husband, there's that sense of, where do I go now? How do I fit? What's next for me? So I love how they transitioned you into this. And what is your role now? My role is going to be to produce materials, books, constantly write books, but also I'll be speaking around the country quite a bit. You and I will be doing some speaking together as well in marriage contexts and settings like that. And putting together a conference every year, and then being a part of the other conferences, the leadership conference, the international conference. And then also being able to be a liaison, so to speak, that pastors can call and reach out to and say, hey, what are some things that we can do? This is the area that we're having trouble with families, with marriages, with couples, with whatever the case might be. And there's a lot of pieces that we want to add to it. And we've been hearing a lot about mental health.
Yes.
There's a lot of things we're going to do to bring mental health into the conferences and things that we do.
Definitely.
That we oversee.
So the conference that we hosted this year is going to be annual.
It's annual.
So every year there will be a marriage and family conference that Pastor and I have the opportunity to host. So with his new position,
that's a lot of work too.
It was a lot.
Ooh, a brother logged some hours, but it was well worth it.
It was well worth it. We're in this new season, being a part, and you really are in your set place.
I really am.
You and yourself being overseer of marriage and family for Full Gospel, because it is one of the pillars of Full Gospel International Fellowship Ministry, marriage and family. And we just don't talk about it. We live it. We've told you about it. When I left my career in 2010, when was Judah? 2009. I left my career July 2009 because we got Judah in January 2010. We made the commitment we were going to start doing this together. And now you see us here 11 years later, and we still survive.
Yeah, we still survive.
Still here.
Still survive. I'm just so glad that she came on, because I think that you've been able to add a lot of detail to the vision. You know, you never come at me and say, this is the vision of the church. No, you let me hear from God like I always have.
Yeah.
But you're able to take that and say, oh my God, we can add this to it. We can add this to it. And all of those details come together to make some great things happen. A lot of things you guys are going to enjoy today is because of some of the detail that she put on what's getting ready to happen today. So we're excited about that. And I appreciate you and what you bring to the table.
Oh, thank you for trusting me.
Yeah.
To do that. We are celebrating 26 years this month. Your daughter reminded me that this is our golden. And like, these kids, I didn't know this.
Golden.
I didn't know
I thought 50 was golden.
She said, Mommy, this is your goal. You're going to be 26 years on the 26th.
I don't know. I'll take it.
We'll take it, and we'll celebrate the best way we can. We know with everything going on in the world today, but it's okay. We'll celebrate the best way.
Eventually, we're going to get a chance to celebrate the 25th.
I know,
because of COVID and all of
there's
that.
So many things I want to do. I want us to renew our vows. We want to go to travel. Like, it'll come. It'll definitely come together. So right now, as we close out the family room, Pastor Ramsey is going to close us out in prayer. And then we are going to go into this special service that we had, transitioning you into overseer of marriage and family with Full Gospel.
That was overseer of, was it singles or was it marriage and family at that time?
Maybe it was.
It might have been
singles.
It
might have just been singles. So they brought you into as the overseer. Yes.
Yeah, so I came into the fellowship under that.
It does.
And just to explain that, that's a huge honor.
Yeah.
There are people that serve in Full Gospel that I have a lot of respect for, that have served for 20 years and never gotten the opportunity to be an overseer, let alone a bishop.
Yes.
So I don't take those things for granted that Bishop Walker and Bishop Morton trusted me with those things right out of the gate, and entrusted you with their people.
Yeah, so some of you may not have ever heard Bishop Joseph Walker III. That's why we wanted to share this clip with you today, because now he is our bishop, and we want you to know who he is. We want you to understand what we're doing now in the ministry. And then after that, live at 11 o'clock, you are going to be here in person, or you are going to be on the thread as we celebrate New Life Worship Center 20th church anniversary. I'm excited. Put on your comfortable shoes, get ready, because we are going to celebrate today.
Absolutely. And keep doing what you've always done, New Life, and that is to support the ministry. You want to support the family room, you can see the number up there. You can text give to 844-972-3594. Outside of that, when we go on live today at 11, please support your church as you normally do with your tithes and offerings, because that's what makes it all happen.
It does. It does. So, Pastor, get ready to close us out in prayer. And again, do not forget the concert at 6. I'm telling you, I took Jeremiah with me to the rehearsal. I'm going to have security. during the
have to have
council
serious security
because I had to hold him on lockdown because he was so excited.
Jay was all
because
over.
so many familiar faces are coming back and singing some of your favorite songs from the Kessler location, the mall location, Northwest. Like, you are going to go crazy.
Yeah.
I need for you to make sure that you log on. I want us to blow up the internet at 6 p.m. tonight.
Let's go viral, y'all.
Yes, we're going to go viral. So, Pastor, you're going to close us.
Let's pray.
In prayer.
Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you for what you're doing and what you've already done. Help us, Lord, not to rest on what you did, but to continue to drive forward, knowing that things can be much better than even where they are. And so I pray that you bless our day, everything that takes place from our service to the service that's being shown now, to our regular service at 11 o'clock, and to our concert on tonight. Let your hand be upon everything that we do, and let the people of God be built up and blessed. In Jesus' name, amen.
Yes, God. Well, we love you. It's First Lady Alicia Ramsey, Pastor John F. Ramsey Sr. here, New Life Worship Center, the family room. Let's go back to that throwback service. We will see you live at 11.
Be blessed.